AITA for blowing up at my mother. After she told me I ruined her evening. I, 17F, have always had a rocky relationship with my mother. Our family has always been on her side, so I just assumed I was in the wrong, but recently I am no longer sure. For context, I am hard of hearing and wear hearing aids in my day-to-day life. I am not deaf and I'm able to hear decently without them, but I have to focus a lot more and end up missing a lot. My parents bought tickets for the entire family to see an outside play at a castle. When we arrived at the location, I found out my hearing aids did not charge properly, so after we sat down I asked my father to give me the train tickets, in case I started to feel unwell during the show. My mother convinced me to wait for the break in the middle of the show, and if I wasn't feeling well, ask then. I agreed and, like I thought, during the show I could only understand about 3/4 of what was being said, plus I started to have a headache and feel overwhelmed with the amount of noise and people present. I waited until the break started and asked my father to give me the tickets, telling my family I wasn't feeling well. On my way back to the train station, my mother called me thanking me for ruining her evening and telling me I will have to return from the con a day earlier. Me and my mother originally agreed that I would leave early in the morning on the 4th day so I wouldn't have to travel by train in the late evening of the 3th day. Now I was angry and tried to call her back, but she kept hanging up on me, and since by the time they got home I was already asleep and I left early next morning for the con, I didn't speak with my mother before I left. I also rescheduled the train back like she asked. Now this is the part where I might have been an asshole. While at the con, my mother called me in a sweet tone asking me why I didn't call her when I arrived. I was really angry, so I simply told her I didn't want to ruin your day. She was baffled and proceeded to tell me to call her next day and hang up on me. She then sent me a long text about how I lost the right to leave the con when I wanted to because I left midway through the show, something we never agreed to, how I didn't properly clean my room. She herself confirmed my room was clean a day before I left, and how I didn't properly show her what I was bringing with me. I showed her everything the day before she just left my room. Pissed off because she kept insisting I bring more shirts despite me telling her I was gonna be in cosplay the entire con, so I only needed something to wear on the way back and some pajamas. Now I was livid at this point, so I called her and blew up at her, yelling about every one of these points, not letting her get a word in edgewise. She tried to weakly argue back, but I didn't let her speak. By the end she basically just repeated the same point again, at which point I hung up on her. Looking back, I'll remember hearing her cry on the other end of the line, and while she hasn't acknowledged what happened since, I still feel guilty about it.